You're welcome to today's channel. Today we're looking at organic chemistry. I hope you enjoy today's study.
Compounds here, they are compounds. So we can also be asked to define organic compounds. Now, organic compounds here, organic compounds are what? They are compounds that was contain carbon, hydrogen, and other elements. Good. And other elements. So most of the things we have, the materials we've seen around, they are organic compounds. Now, organic compounds, we have petrol, we have diesel, they are all organic compounds. Now, in 2019, the question was given where a student had to differentiate between organic compounds and inorganic compounds. Now, to be able to remember this one, I'm going to give you a mnemonic. A mnemonic is I. So let me give you the mnemonics. Alright, so now if they ask to differentiate between organic compounds and inorganic compounds, I came up with this mnemonic. This is a mnemonic. I. If me BP, solve it. If I'm having BP, solve it. So I, if me BP, solve. Now the I here talks about inorganic. The inorganic compounds, they are not, so you look at whether they are inflammable or they are not inflammable. The I here, we are talking about whether they are ionic compounds or covalent compounds. The F here will look at whether the reaction is very fast or slow. Then we look at whether it's having a high melting point or low melting point. We look at boiling point. The BP here is not blood pressure, but then it's talking about the boiling point. We look at the solubility, then the volatility. So we look at how to use this one. How do you use mnemonic to differentiate between organic compounds and inorganic compounds? Alright, so as I said, this is a mnemonic to help you differentiate between inorganic compounds and organic compounds. Remember, I, if me BP, solve it. That's good. So the I here, look at the first I here. So we say inorganic compounds because they are starting with I, so we start with inorganic compounds. So they are not inflammable. It means they don't burn easily. Now, but for organic compounds, they are usually inflammable. It means that they burn easily, like petrol. If you take petrol and water, petrol burns more. So they are highly inflammable. Then the next I here, which is in the if, they are ionic compounds. Remember, inorganic, they are ionic bonds. And then the organic are covalent bond. Covalent bond means they are sharing electron pair. But for ionic bond, there is transfer of electron. That is ionic bond. When we talk of ionic bond, there is transfer of electron. But for covalent bond, there is a sharing of electron pair. We'll look at that one in bonding. Then the F here means their reactions are fast. That's inorganic. And for organic compounds, their reactions are slow. Then if you take the inorganic compounds, they have high melting point. Remember, you're having BP, so definitely the melting point is very high. That's the me here. Melting point is high. And then for organic, they have low melting point. Then the fifth one, we'll talk about the BP. So they have high boiling point. Whilst for organic compound, they have low boiling point. Then the sixth one, we can say for inorganic compounds, they are soluble in inorganic solvent. Example, water. Water is inorganic solvent. So for example, if you have sodium chloride is inorganic compound, and sodium chloride is common salt dissolved in water. So you are saying inorganic compound, they are soluble in inorganic solvent. Because they are inorganic, they are soluble in inorganic solvent. Whilst organic compound, they are soluble in what? Organic solvents, like benzene. Then they are less volatile. Everything is high except their volatility. So their volatility, and then this one, so they are less volatile. Whilst organic compound, they are highly volatile. So if you remember this mnemonic, you will to at least differentiate between inorganic and inorganic compounds. Alright, so we'll look at hydrocarbons. When we talk of hydrocarbons, remember the word hydrocarbons. So it means they are going to contain hydrogen, and they are going to contain carbon. So hydrocarbons are compounds that contain hydrogen and carbon atoms only. That is hydrocarbon. Now these hydrocarbons, we can classify them as either whether they are saturated or unsaturated. Now what you want to remember is that for hydrocarbons, saturated and unsaturated, I say the students should remember satisfied. Now, what happens is that for the bond we are looking at, we have single bond, we have double bond, we have triple bond. Now, if you look at these three things, and we are talking about satisfied, saturated, unsaturated, so satisfied, unsatisfied. Now, this is single stomach, double stomach, and triple stomach. If they are giving food to these people, which of them will be satisfied early? So this one, definitely the one with the simple stomach. These people with 2 stomach and 3 stomach will not be satisfied. So it's unsaturated or unsatisfied. So let's come back to the chemistry. We are saying for saturated hydrocarbons, they have only single bond. So for saturated, they have only single bond. Then for unsaturated, they have double or triple bond. Is that okay? Now, so single bond for saturated, then unsaturated, they have double or triple bond. Then if you look at the one, which of the hydrocarbons have single bond? We have the alkanes. Alkanes have the single bond, okay, and then the alkanes, if you look at this one, alkanes, and then the alkynes, they have the triple bond. Look at this one. If you are counting ABCD, you know this one is going to be A. You are going to call this one the A. So look at it, A here, which means this is the first one, so only single bond. Then you go to E, which will be double, and then the Y, counting ABC, the last one, so that's the triple bond. So these are it: hydrocarbons, hydrogen and carbon atom. We have saturated, unsaturated hydrocarbon. Then the saturated, we'll talk about single because it's satisfied, so single bond. The unsaturated, they have double bond, double or triple bond. Now an example of the single bond is alkanes. An example on that was the unsaturated is alkanes and alkynes. Alright, so let me give you the overview again, reiterate it. So it's hydrocarbons, they are compound that contains carbon and hydrogen atoms only. Keyword, hydrocarbon. Now the type, we said we have saturated and unsaturated. So saturated hydrocarbons. So for saturated hydrocarbons, as I said, they are hydrocarbons that contain single bond between carbon atoms. So I told you earlier on the alkanes, start with the A. Then we have unsaturated hydrocarbons. They are hydrocarbons that contains either double or triple bond. Double or triple bond. Double or triple bond. Double or triple bond between the carbon atoms. Example is the alkanes and then the alkynes. So now we just summarize alkanes and alkynes, and then we'll now take alkanes and look at the naming. Alright, so for alkanes, I told you they have what? This is a single bond. Then alkanes, they have double bond, and alkynes, they have triple bond. So if you look at alkanes, these are the prefix alkane. So it becomes ethane. So you see ethane here becomes an alkane. But if it becomes an alkane, we'll not call it it becomes what? Ethane. This one, then alkyne will have this, so it becomes ethane. And when you come here, guess it's going to be what? Propane. This in here, because of the A here, telling it's an alkane. Then here you come to what? Propane, then propine. Then if you come here, you come to butane. Then here you're going to come to what? Butane, and then we have butane. And so these are the general overview of this one. Now let's now take alkanes and look at the naming for alkanes. Alkanes, so we are now looking at the alkanes, looking at the naming. Alkanes are also called the paraffin. Paraffin. So if you see paraffin, they are called alkanes. That's another name for alkanes. Now alkanes have their formula. We have the molecular formula for alkanes to be CnH2n plus 2. CnH2n plus 2. This is the subscript plus 2. Now somebody asks, what's all this one? The C represents carbon. And the H represents what? Guess, hydrogen. H represents hydrogen. And then we'll have the N to be what? N equals to the number of what? The number of what? Carbon atom. The number of carbon. So the number of carbon atom here. The number of carbon atom. Now, look at it. Now, if you have CnH2n plus 2, if n is equal to 2, we'll see if n equal to 2, what this formula. So let's cut it. Now, this is what I'm going to remember. The prefix. We call something prefix. So to remember the prefix. Now, if carbon is equal to 1, how do you call it? If carbon is 2, how do you call it? If the carbon is 3, how do you call it? So this is a mnemonic I give to people. Remember this one. We met the earth. we met the earth proper, but we met the earth proper, but we write pent, hex, hept, oct, non, dec. Remember this one. We met the earth proper, but pent, hex, hept, oct, non, dec. Good. So this is going to give you a mnemonic. So met the earth here, I think it should be ETH to help you. Earth. We met the earth proper, but pent, hex, hept, oct, non, dec. It means that if the carbon, this is just telling that if the carbon is 1, we are going to use this one. If the carbon is 2, this is the name that we are going to use. If the carbon is 3, if the carbon is 4, if the carbon is 5, if it is 6, if it is 7, if it is 8, if it is 9, and if it is 10. So let's now look at it into detail. Alright, so let me go back. So the prefix, this is a prefix. So we say what? We met the earth proper, but what? But pent, hex, hept, oct, non, dec. We met the earth proper, but some people came to spoil it. Yeah, sure. So met here means that if it's an alkane, it becomes what? Methane. It means we have, look at it, I just add ANE to it. AN. So we become methane. Then this one we guess it become what? Then become ethane. We just be adding ANE to it. Then this become what? Propane. Propane means having what? 3 carbon. Remember 3. Then we have what? Butane. Butane will tell you what? It's having what? 4 carbon. Then we have pentane. Pentane means that it's going to have 5 carbon because of the pent. Then we have hexane. Hexane means having 6 carbon. Then we have heptane. Heptane means having what? 7 carbon. Then we have octane. Octane means having 8 carbon. Then we have nonane. Nonane means having 9. Then we have decane. Decane means having 10. We have undecane, dodecane, the rest. So look at this one. We made the earth proper, but pent, hex, hept, oct, non, dec. We made the earth proper, but pent, hex, hept, oct, non, dec. And it's going to help you. So let's quickly move on to what I was trying to say. That for alkanes, we are going to have the alkanes have the formula CnH2n plus 2. That's the formula for alkanes. Now they will tell you that if the carbon is 3, if carbon is 3, what will be the formula for that particular one? So we are going to put 3 here. So we are going to have C in place of the N. I'll put what? 3, and the H. Now 2 times 3 give what? 6. 6 plus 2 give what? 8. So this is going to be the name. So this is going to be the molecular formula. Now what will be the name when the carbon is 3? So we met the earth prop. So we are going to call this compound propane. Have you seen it? Propane. Propane, because prop means it's having what? 3. If you can see from here, prop means we're having 3. So propane. Now have you seen it? Now what will be the structure? The structure here, we can have the, let's look at the open structure. We're having 3 carbons. So if you can open this structure, so we are going to have C, we have 3C. How many hydrogen? Remember the first 3 take 3 and the last 2. So we are going to have, so if you have done it this way, look at it. Carbon, there are 3. You said the carbons are 3. So now look at it, just do 4 arrows for each carbon. 1, 2, 3, 4. This 1, 2, 3, 4. This 1 already here. 2, 3, 4. Have you seen it? Now where there's no place, add hydrogen to that one. So I'm going to have hydrogen, 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 hydrogen. Let's count and see whether it will be 8. Now you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Have you seen it? That is propane. Now this one you can condense it again. If this is the open structure, we can condense it. Does this C? We have how many H there? We have 3H. If I take this C, how many H do we have? We have what? 2. If I take this C, how many H? We have 3. Have you seen? So this is called propane. This propane. This propane. Now let's take other examples as well. Look at this compound. If they ask to name this compound, very easy. Naming of this compound is the easiest thing you can have so far. But then because of time, in the next video we'll look at how to name alkanes. We just look at the introduction. Remember, I made the earth proper but spent. So this compound, in the next video, we'll look at how to name alkanes. Okay, how to name alkanes. Whatever the structure is, how to name it. And that's going to be very, very simple. In the next video, I'll give this short and smart tricks in order to name alkanes and alkynes and the rest. Exactly. Don't forget to subscribe and keep studying, keep watching and keep learning. You have a nice time.